We are now getting some detailed information under Voices of Impact. Our next voice of impact is Ashley Carroll. Ashley is a strategic leadership and clarity executive advisor. She works particularly with entrepreneurs to bring out the creative power and purpose. And her solution finding session is absolutely excellent, something I have experienced. Welcome, Ashley, and take it away with your information to share.
Yes, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Sigrid. So, I have a presentation about storytelling in terms of business. And the way I think about storytelling does encompass data visualization at the same time. So, if you hear me reference that, that's why. But sometimes people might think about it just specifically around storytelling. And the reason I chose this topic today is because this is an offering that I provide for my clients and that I really enjoy doing, and I find makes an incredible difference in all forms of communication, really, that anyone would do anywhere, especially in business. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more detail, and I'm going to share my screen now. And Sigrid, if you don't mind just confirming that you can see it.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so I thought we'd start with what is storytelling? I've actually realized in the past few months through doing a lot more networking with starting my own business that that term is not necessarily widely understood. So I thought it would be a good start to define it. And of course, this is all based off my perspective and my experience, like the entire presentation, of course. So you can consider that with maybe other resources or your own thinking. But a critical point is humans are always telling stories. We've been telling stories forever, since prehistoric times, where they would write on walls, in caves, for example, different stories of what happened in their lives. And stories can really help make sense of the world in a faster and memorable way. Many times people put so much data on a screen or so many words and text, and it's really hard to digest and understand what is the message, what is the takeaway. So when you approach it in a different way, it can make a really big difference in the understanding of the user in terms of the amount of time it takes and how they remember you. Stories help people understand complex ideas. So that's just another way of kind of saying the point above. It's structured to the human brain, so it makes it more familiar for the brain to absorb and understand and remember. And the most wonderful things about storytelling is that it encourages imagination and it evokes emotion, which helps, of course, with that memory of what you're communicating. So I like quotes. They make me happy. So I thought I would point to two of my favorite storytelling quotes. I do consider myself a storyteller. And so one quote from Steve Jobs is he said, the most powerful person in the world is a storyteller. And he talked about a storyteller setting vision and values and agenda. And, there's a little bit more to his quote that he was kind of orienting that he was a storyteller, which is in his business, which is really wonderful. And he has done an amazing job at that over his life. So my other quote is the best arguments in the world won't change a person's mind. We just had a few presentations about mind, and we talked about changing minds and how you might approach that in your business and yourself. So this is kind of a perfect quote for the discussion we've been having today, but it is really hard to change someone's mind and perspective. It can be, depending on the person, maybe what you're talking about and different beliefs that they might have. So a story is a way to kind of lighten up an experience for someone and help change their mind in an easier way. So I focus the rest on entrepreneurs since that's most of our audience today, and that's who I work with. I work with entrepreneurs. So I focused this presentation on sharing and informing entrepreneurs. Of course, you all might already know this and feel free to just ignore me, but come with me for a few minutes and you'll see kind of what I have to share. So stories do more than just inform. You might think about stories, but they help you build credibility in your business, building trust, authenticity, and polish. They help you lead with clarity. So when you can simplify your message, be intentional with your data visualizations, be clear in your messaging, be clear in all your communication, makes a huge difference in your life and your ease and efficiency of your business. And then strategic influence. Of course, it's a huge opportunity for you to drive strategy in your organization or within your customers or personal friends and family, of course, as well. All stories are a part of all parts of our lives. And to get, more specific into components of your business where you can use storytelling, here's a short list. I won't get incredibly detailed here. Obviously, this is a bit uh, generalized for today's discussion since we have a short time together, but marketing and branding is huge. Sigrid, I know you probably have a strong opinion about this and how you can use storytelling in that part of your business. Did you want to say something?
Well, absolutely. I think it is really wonderful how you are sharing this and how you are representing this with your clients. The storytelling, of course, is something what comes to mind to me is that in particular in ages gone by when writing wasn't even prominent and not everybody was able to write, the storytelling, telling the story of the history of the tribe, of the history of experiences was powerful. And I think that is where that sort of kind of translates from those times. And we're doing that, of course, in marketing and branding, telling our origin story. Why did we start the business or go into that business? And what is there to it? And what's our personal connection to it? Wonderful. Thanks, Ashley.
Yeah, and thank you, Sigrid, for that great addition. Most definitely. Origin story is a wonderful thing to share through your own marketing and branding, as well as of course, your offerings. How are you presenting that to everyone? How are you saying that? And your testimonies from your customers are their own stories that they're sharing with you, right? For you to be able to share with the rest of the world. Sales and pitches is a huge part. You can see that in advertising, right? They kind of bring you along a journey, very specifically in advertising. And a lot of people use this. Start with your problem. What's the struggle? What's your solution? And then how did that solution work out for you? Which is your outcome? This is kind of a standard high level way of walking through a story. And making the customer the hero is an example of a great way, obviously, to invoke that emotion and make someone feel connected to your message. Leadership and internal communications, as I said at the beginning, any communication has a story involved in it, even if it's only a few sentences. And so within an organization, there is a huge opportunity for leaders to use this skill set to be very intentional with how they talk about and share their vision and their values and challenges within their business and help change the thinking and experience in their culture. And then customer education, depending on the kind of business you are, you might need to storytell and create videos or create different communication that helps the user understand how to do certain things on your website or with your tools, etc. So here's a quick general outline for business that you can use. I won't spend too much time on here because we will run out and I'd like to save room for discussion. But here's a general outline of what you can start. Let's say you're doing a PowerPoint or you're doing a whiteboard, for example. This is an example of how you can share that story. Start out with your opening. What's your bottom line? What's the message that you're getting to? Who you are, why does someone care? Who's your team, right? Your customer, what's the goal? What are you solving? What's the obstacle you've experienced, the solutions you've gone through, and then what was the transformation and call to action, which you've seen in some of the presentations earlier today. Some of this outline sort of showing up in how people are presenting themselves. So that's been really wonderful to experience. And so this is this last quote. This is one of my favorite people in the world, Silent Siddha, that I've known for years and very much respect and admire. And he has these wonderful teachings for mind and human experience. And I thought this one was perfect for our discussion today. So I would just leave this on the screen for you to read and then open up the floor for any discussion about anything I've presented, in particular, of course, any thoughts on this quote. So I will pause for a few seconds for everyone to read, and then we can open up the floor for discussion.
Quotes are an excellent opportunity, or in a way, a story in itself, aren't they, Ashley? Or that's how I look at it, because you can really build on it what you are experiencing, reading, or taking in. You can build on that through your own glasses, if I can call it that. We all use different glasses through which we look at things, and of course, stories are our share of that, and quotes are a wonderful way of interpreting it for ourselves. So really great. Thanks for leaving that on there
Yeah, thank you,
for a
Sigrid.
moment.
So great at bringing in the wonderful summaries and connection points. So thank you for making that connection. Yes. Many times these quotes definitely invoke my imagination. I don't know about you, and thinking about it and contemplating certainly in my own life.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, what I might do is, Ashley, this was a wonderful share of your expertise and taking us into the path of storytelling and how you work with your entrepreneurial leaders, with those that you advise, especially also in the executive area of in business. So let me finalize this here for now and then open the floor for those who may not wish to jump on visually right now. So we've had a wonderful presentation on the details, strategic leadership, leading through creative power and purpose, finding solutions from Ashley Carroll. Thank you so much, Ashley, for your presentation.
Thank you so much, Sigrid.